Morning video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Daslow, and joining me, as always...
Ben Vanel here, Tommy, and boy, am I excited. We've switched things up. Mm-hmm. We've got a little guest on the podcast today.
We sure do.
And it's all about him. We're pre-recording this. We're banking this, so it can't be a topical episode. We're delving into the mind of Dilruk Jayasinha.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on Filthies. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's all about him. It just felt very targeted. You know what?
Oh, it's all
about him. Yeah, exactly. No one asked me how my day's going. Like, that's how you framed it.
No.
So contextually, normally you don't have guests, is it?
Occasionally we do, but and occasionally those guests are on.
We dabble.
We dabble,
Yes.
and they're on to maybe review something. But yeah, kind of usually the first time we have someone on, like with Melanie Bracewell or Greg Larson, it's more like, what's your history with games? What do you like? What do you want to talk about? It's, yeah.
Well, so that's a good place to start because and Tommy knows a lot more about this because I do feel like an imposter when it comes to most areas, whether it's movies, whether it's, video games, F1. Like, I just know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, okay.
But there's nothing that I know hardcore enough to be able to justifiably say I'm a fan of.
Can I ask you, and I know this is not really on the topic of video games at all, but when did you get into F1? Because
the Drive to Survive series.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So it was.
You've really been leaning in online.
It's
in
my
the
whole
last
identity.
couple of years, I've noticed.
It's my whole identity now.
Right.
And it happened in 2021. I was in WA where my ex used to live at the time, and I injured my back really badly. I couldn't walk for like 6 weeks, and there's a lot of marijuana in WA, and I was not a smoker before that, and so she'd go to work, and I was like, I don't have anything to do while I'm just lying in bed while she's at work.
And back pain.
So I was like, oh, can you roll me one of those joint things? So
one of those J burns.
Yeah. One of those jazz cigarettes that the kids are into.
Well, and before you head off to work, while I just sit here all day,
but it was
make yourself useful and roll Daddy a joint.
Yeah, swear to God. Because also, speaking of Daddy, like her dad had her actual father had like a weed plant. Like that's how like normal it was there.
Yeah, right.
Whereas when I grew up in Sri Lanka, it's like you're the devil if you have some of
lined up against the wall and shot.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what the weed was always like. And anyway, so I was like, fuck it, I'll have that. So I'd smoke a joint and then have nothing to do. And then I was like, oh well, there's this doco that everyone keeps talking about. That's really good. And like by episode 7, I was like screaming at my laptop over a contract negotiation.
Yeah.
And
this is what everyone says about F1 who's into it recently is like, has there ever been something like that where it's like a doco about a specific interest that manages to not just like if you're already into that interest, you're like, wow, what a great representation of this thing that I like.
Right, my community, my culture. Yeah.
It manages to bring in, like, imagine one of them
like
about
Tiger
video
King?
games and then just everyone being like kind of co-opted into this interest.
Well, I'm trying to think. So Last Dance was obviously Tiger King.
You think, wait, now you're hearing people all the time talk about tigers and how much they like it.
Smoking meth and
Blackfish. People love Free Willy since then.
Yeah. True.
No, but I think you're right. I think in terms of a huge, like the way F1 has benefited from that doco is insane, and I think unprecedented. Like the fact that one of the biggest grossing box office movies that's out in the last two months or so is because of that doco. Like because that caught Brad Pitt's interest, and that the trickle effect all starts from the doco. But what's interesting, what you said about the video games thing, and then this doco comes out or whatever, is quite the opposite. The purists hate the doco.
Oh, they hate Drive to Survive. Because it's real surface level. And
not surface level. It's like a lot of manufactured drama. A lot of like, so like they really, they do a lot of clever editing to make things like so villainize someone. And like literally now that I'm more into it, I can like sometimes pick it because I'm now watching every race in the season.
Right.
Yep.
Whereas, so they'll have like, say the reigning champion, his mate wins. And has their first win. And it's like, in real life, he was genuinely like supportive and excited, and then
Yeah.
the green room, the cool down room together, laughing, and just like he's like, "Fuck yeah, this dude's won like a nearly 70 or something." He's like, "Yeah, you can have one. It's great. I'm proud of you."
Yeah.
But the edit shows him at a different cool down room where he was pissed off about a decision that was given against him.
Right.
So they're cutting it to show like, oh, he's angry even though his mate has just won his first one, and so shit like that. And there's like plenty of reasons like that. Having said that, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
It's increased the fandom. It means like there's literally now more races in America. Like there's a Las Vegas course now, which was never before, because the way it blew up in America is made the sport so much bigger. And now there's an American team that's coming in. Like, I still think it's kind of cool. So anyway, going back to video games, I feel bad to be on this podcast because I cannot underestimate just how surface level I am. But Tommy knows this. It's from self-preservation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have a very addictive personality, to the point where when I moved to Australia in 2004, I told myself no more video games because I knew that I won't study. And part of that is because I used to have a bruise on my wrist here, from playing Need for Speed on the PC. So my leg, my wrist would rest, and I used the arrow keys.
Yeah.
And I think spacebar was my handbrake, and so that was the only other
So
finger.
you say your surface level, but your mouse and keyboard, that's elite.
Yeah.
As any gamer knows, that's the real shit.
So that bruise was there when I moved to Australia. But what's even worse is, to date, I have this chipped tooth down here from playing Mortal Kombat, and I was grinding my teeth as I was smashing my buttons. So it was a feeling, but the feeling came flying out, and I'm like, fuck it, just keep going. And so I know that this is like junkie level behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
And same with Sims. I remember my mum once said goodnight to me. I was like, all right, I'll see you in the morning for school. And she comes back to wake me up for school, and I'm still trying to get a job as a doctor or whatever.
Well, she's got to be proud of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was always like, I was already an astronaut, and now I'm trying to be a doctor. Like, so I knew that games were not going to be going to go well. But then,
yeah, because when I first met you, you didn't play games, and I would like talk to you. I was like, oh, there's this new Zelda. Like, you know, when the Switch came out, and like Nintendo were kind of on the ropes. Like their previous console had been quite a failure.
Yeah, the Wii U.
Yeah.
And so they weren't really on a lot of people's radar. Well, I mean, people knew the company, but in terms of like now, it feels like most people, especially comics that we know, own a Switch. And I remember like when it came out and it was good, like saying to comedians like, man, this is huge for us. You get it, you can like take it on the road with you. You know,
Yes.
you've got something to do on like long flights, and when you come back after a gig, it's like, it's fucking changed my life. And I was saying to you like, man, there's this Zelda Breath of the Wild game. It's awesome. And I'm like, you'd love it because it's like, as a value prospect, it's basically endless. And you were like, that's hell to me.
Yeah.
No. It's heaven, but everything else in life would be hell.
Yeah.
That's the key difference that people need to understand, is that I would love it so much that I would fail to. It's the only time I'd skip a meal. Like that's really saying something. Like I would forget. I love eating, and I would forget to feed myself.
Sure.
Because I'm so hooked into whatever I'm hooked into at the time. And so as part of like my kind of rehabilitation was that I'd allow myself, if I hear that a game is really great, like Batman Arkham Asylum or whatever comes to mind, people talking about how amazing it is, I then watch the entire fucking thing on YouTube. Just other people playing and just getting annoyed at the Riddler levels. And then someone would say Spider-Man, you know, on PS is great. So I'd watch that whole thing. So I would like allow myself little drip feeds.
Right, this finite, it's like, well, this is the playthrough. It's like 10 hours. I'll get through that and then I'm done.
There's a friend of mine who like loves watching people stream games. He also plays them himself, but he likes watching streams. And we were talking about this game earlier in the year, Blueprints, that's like this very elaborate puzzle game that's like a real, like, doesn't hold your hands with the puzzles at all. Like, you've really got to...
Is this the one that you guys spoke about as an independent game? I think, because I listened to your episode about Mario Kart World. There was a game that you said that was an independent that's just amazing, even though it's like...
It might. I think it was before that.
It was a little bit before that.
Then right.
But it's like, it's really intricate and really like, you've kind of got to... It doesn't give you any, like... hints, so you've really got to put it together yourself. And so I was playing it, and I was talking to this friend of mine who was watching a stream of it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm at this bit, and I kind of, you know, I'm sort of trying to, and he really smugly goes, You mean you haven't figured that out yet? And I'm like, cunt, you haven't figured it out.
Right.
You just watch someone else figure it out.
I don't know
Don't
why
look down your nose at me.
And sorry, to tie this back into like F1 or whatever, what shits me so much is I consume so many podcasts or rather Instagram reels of people discussing it. And whenever one of those people go, well, that's why so-and-so is shit, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't stand the key.
You'll share memes about F1 where it's like, my face when fucking Verstappen does this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this must be what it's like to know me. Where I'm like, so it's the people that made the last Mario game, right? But Mario's not in this one.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong is, but it's like, it's got a lot of the same DNA. And actually, they haven't made a new Donkey Kong game in 20 years. Just watching people's eyes roll back in their heads.
Right. Well, it was like when we were hanging out with our friend Kate, and you were trying to explain It Takes Two.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell this on the show?
No, I think you told me in person.
Yeah,
not
Kate
on the
Dennett,
show.
friend of the show, who's been on a few times.
Yes.
We should get her back soon.
Yeah.
You were talking about playing It Takes Two with your ex.
and then Split Fiction.
Yes. Because Kate was there, and I was like, oh, so It Takes Two is this game where I'm just giving her the context of the game, assuming that she hasn't like played it or anything, and she just cuts me off mid-sentence and goes, this is the
He's like,
third
I don't want to. Yeah,
time-
she said it quite. She's like, hey, I don't want to sound mean, but I have to stop you because this is the third or fourth time
you've told me about this game.
Yeah.
And I was just reeling. I was like, in what capacity? This wasn't even me being like, oh, I've played it and you'd love it. Like that, that would make sense to me.
Yeah.
This was like someone else brought it up, and I didn't even finish playing it or like it that much.
Yeah.
Why have I talked about this game so many times? To her?
and I highly recommend anyone who's separated or split from their ex to play It Takes Two with them, because that's what me and my ex did. Because kind of the personalities matched who the characters were a little bit.
You've told me this already, by the way. I'm sick of hearing about this fucking game.
I noticed you didn't say not to be mean.
But yeah, it's kind of that thing of like it takes two. If there's, I mean, people, your fans would know, it's about a couple going through divorce, and then this magical world or whatever brings them together. By the end,
I am obsessed with it because it's the most like. As we, found when we were playing through it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the most flawed storyline. The conceit being like, divorce is bad.
Yes.
You must do everything in your power to not split up. And it's like, hey, sometimes it just ain't working.
And these two shouldn't be together.
Absolutely.
Both characters are annoying. Like, as in, they're just not suited for each other.
Yes.
And it's annoying. But it's very controversial, but I really love the elephant soft toy. That whole scenario.
Literally was. People can find us playing through like. I guess half of the game on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that was the point that made us go, we're out.
Oh, really?
Fucked.
So my ex is like on the verge of tears, and I am pissing myself laughing, like laughing maniacally, because I just found it so funny that some developer makes you do the fact that they make you do this, and they're like, for me it was a self-awareness because the elephant keeps going, why are you doing this? I just wanted to love her, and it's so great.
Are you meant to be worshipping the elephants?
It didn't have enough arms, Tommy.
Oh my god. The irony is,
old habits die hard. What can I say?
Elephant never forgets. And an elephant is my favorite animal. Like, you've been to my house, I have plenty of pictures of elephants in my mugs. And
Great
elephant
animal.
I love it. It's my favorite
Beautiful
animal. But yeah, I just find it funny. For me, maybe that's like I love that was the moment that sold me on the game. But my problem was I'd played Split Fiction first.
Oh yeah.
And when we thought that was far more superior game.
Yeah.
It
They
Takes
really
Two.
cooked with that one.
Oh mate, the gameplay is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just as you're getting slightly kind of tired of maybe one world, you switch to the sci-fi or vice versa.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it. Something that you said about just triggered this memory. I want to ask, how filthy can we get on the show?
How filthy?
Oh well, how just kind of crook?
Very crook.
Yeah, we don't mind it.
We don't say slurs.
Yeah, that's probably
I'm out.
that's the ceiling. The slurs are the ceiling. Everything beneath that.
All right, fine. I guess I'll keep my thoughts on those people. You get to pick whose people I'm talking. No,
White
no.
people.
The story is about like I was talking about getting obsessed with things, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how I weaned myself off it, or rather. But it would sneak in. So during uni, this is about 3-4 years after, I really got hooked onto stick cricket.
Yeah, I'm glad
Sure.
I know this story.
You know this story?
I'm glad you asked if you could bring it up because I was going to ask you if I could bring it up.
Perfect. Okay. Beautiful.
So stick cricket used to be online. I got fucking like because it's only left and right key, but like that's all you need. All I needed. I didn't care about playing the stroke straight, just left and right.
Sure.
And I would be trying in 10 overs, trying to get the maximum score. Loved it. I was seeing someone at the time, and I was playing the game, and then she came over, and we started making out, and we started getting intimate. But my enthusiasm was too was peaking, and I didn't want the situation to finish quicker than I was about to come, and I didn't want to. I didn't want
Now
to.
we're cooking.
Yes.
And I was like, oh man, I can't. I need to be distracted.
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day.
I just came. Like what? It just happened. Fuck. No, I none of that was working. And I said, hey, I'm so sorry, but please go with it. And I realized the laptop was still opened next to her head. And I started playing stick cricket
Oh God.
while having sex.
Oh yes.
I'm look. It's not
Let's
my
bring in a
parents.
third. The entire West Indies cricket team represented in stick figure form.
Those are those moments where you go, I'm not right, am I? Like, it just, but
But
yeah.
when you like, what's the like growing up in Colombo in Sri Lanka? Like, what's the ease of access of gaming there? Was it like when you were growing up? Was there,
Our cousins were quite rich, so they would get almost like all the stuff.
Yeah, right.
And so I think we were my brother and I have an older brother, 5 years older. I think we were able to afford an Atari.
Yep.
So we played the shit out of that. I think it came with like 50 games or something. I can't remember. There was like the one I remember the most is there was a boxing one where it's just 2 squares and these lines just come out kind of thing.
Nice.
Like that was the one we loved the most. But then my cousins got Nintendo with Super Mario and Duck Hunter, and so that was like unbelievable. Like so we'd go to their house, and because it's hard to get good at it just on the fly when you're just visiting once a 2 weeks or whatever, it became more about watching them play and like cheering them on. Like, do you remember a game called Gumshoe? It was another shooter game
with the light gun on the Nintendo.
Yeah,
right.
Anyway, yeah. So it was one of those, and my cousin finished it like for the first time while we were there, and it became this thing about how every time my brother and I would visit, that was when they'd clock a game.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
right.
it was Gumshoe. I think it was Contra.
Oh, yeah.
The first time they beat the whole game was when we were there. So it was almost like we became the cheerleaders in a weird way.
That's funny. That's almost like the that's the sort of like entry level phase to being older and enjoying watching people on YouTube stream games.
Totally.
Is like being young and like watching your older brother finish something or going around to a family friend's house.
Oh, massively. And so then they got, I think, Sega, then Sega Mega Drive. Again, a lot of times, like including Lion King, was watching my cousin play. This is the slightly younger cousin, and he hadn't seen the Lion King movie yet, and so he's fighting Scar at the end and just hammering Scar away, going, "Fuck, he's just not dying."
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, in the cartoon, he dies by you throwing him over. I wonder whether you need to try and like launch him, and then that's how you defeat
really?
him.
I didn't know
And
that.
it was like the biggest validation.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was like, otherwise he would have just kept hitting him, waiting for him to
Yeah.
die. And I'm like, man, I think you should try, see if you can. Because
Crazy to be someone that age in that era and not have seen The Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That
When
was
you
like
look,
mandatory viewing.
the fact
Yeah.
that he was enjoying playing the game
Yeah.
without watching the
Yeah,
thing.
It's like lions.
That's
I
actually
guess.
insane behavior now that I think about it. I'm like,
speaks to the quality of the game.
Yeah.
You don't even need to know the source material.
and that was the Aladdin Sega game. And then the one I remember was their parents divorced, and so the dad was in another house, and in that house bought a Super Nintendo. And apparently they told me
Dad's
that
out to win.
Yeah.
Does your mother have a Super Nintendo?
But apparently the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin, when he gets like knocked out or whatever, there's like a trace of blood. And we're like,
really?
whoa, what?
Right,
That
right.
sounds mad. Like the fact that there was just the graphic of blood apparently was for me like lamenting going home in the car, back of Mum's car going, man, I wish I could see that. Like it just like that's all it took to make me
Also,
like
because so weirdly there were two. I think maybe I don't know if it was with the Lion King as well, but definitely with Aladdin. The Mega Drive one and the Super Nintendo one were like made by different people. Like they came out at the same time.
Okay.
But they were like different games made by different studios. And Capcom made the Super Nintendo one, and they make Street Fighter.
Right.
So maybe that's why
right.
they snuck a little bit
Snuck
of blood
a
in
little
there.
blood,
They're obsessed with violence.
Because it was the reverse with Mortal Kombat, right? It was like Sega, there was blood effects, there was gore.
Yeah, it had to be
and
toned
then,
down on
SNES, it was like the blood was grey or something.
Yeah,
like it was
yeah,
something
I know
something
Mortal
like
Kombat
that.
3, they basically, they just went weird with the cartoons. Like instead of bones, it was like the bone was shape of a leg. And like it was terrible, the graphic, the way they toned it down for MK3. But so we would go to my cousin's house, and finally the one that we thought, okay, maybe we can come close to was a Game Boy.
Yeah,
So we kind of kept an eye on it. It was too expensive for us. And then finally my brother's like, oh, no, I saw it on... I can't remember the specific amounts, right? Let's just say...
What's the currency in Sri Lanka?
It's rupees, but
Rupees.
I can't remember...
So what kind of rupees roughly are we talking?
I honestly, I'm not sure. But let's just say this particular thing would have been like... Okay, say my pocket money was 500 rupees... a month
awesome.
or whatever, let's just say, then, which it was, but a Game Boy would have been 50,000 rupees. So it's like 1,000 months worth of saving would get me that, right?
Yeah, I'm in Vietnam when people are hearing this, and it's just, I fucking love anywhere where the currency is just like... Yeah, my pocket money was 1 million dong. Anything where it's just like astronomical.
You should go to Zimbabwe.
A can of Coke is like 50,000 in the local currency. It's just fucking, like you saying my pocket, like a kid here would have like what, $10 for pocket money, and you going like, I had 500 of the local currency. That's sick.
And it's like, if I did the conversion, it'd be insane. It would be like, I don't know, what I think $1 is 200 rupees. So it'll be like $2.50. Was my pocket money for the month. But anyway, so let's say, okay, again, I just pull that 50,000 out of nowhere, but that's kind of what the memory feels like. It's like, it's not something I can save up for.
It's completely unattainable.
Right. And then suddenly my brother saw there was a special where it was for 10,000 rupees. And he said to Mom, "He's like, hey, I just saw this shop in the shopping mall near our house. He's like, it's just at 10,000. Do you think we can do it?" She's like, "Okay, you know what? Like, we'll go for it." And so excited. Like, I would have been. So I know this was 93. So I would have been 8. My brother was, 13. And great, here we go. You go to the shop with the 10,000 rupees or whatever and go to get it. And then it turns out the 10,000 rupees was for a thing. For a case that goes over the Game Boy called
like
Case Boy.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it had the magnifying glass.
No, that was Light Boy. That was called Light Boy.
That's right.
That was Light Boy. And there was Case Boy, which came with a strap that you can hang it on your neck.
Oh my God.
And that was like a fifth of the cost. I mean, again, I'm just pulling the number out of my ass.
That's devastating.
But that was what we could afford, was just the case.
God.
And so we like sheepishly walk back home without a Game Boy, devastated. But of course, the loving family that we are, my mom and dad nicknamed my brother Case Boy after that.
Yeah, that's mad.
His nickname was Case Boy.
That is a big blunder. 13, like if that was you, the 8-year-old, like looking in the catalog or whatever and making that mistake, that would kind of be fair enough. Yeah. But a 13-year-old should know better.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the cute ending, which is, say that would have happened middle of the year. By December was my brother's birthday, so my parents somehow saved up, scrounged, and bought him a Game Boy for his 13th birthday that year.
Right.
Which is very sweet. and
now he needs the case for it.
no, including the case.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They bought the case as well. That was what was
Nice.
really cool. And but what makes me remember this story is my brother had the worst fever. Like he was so sick on his day of his birthday.
Right.
Like could barely keep his eyes open. So guess who got to play the Game Boy
Yes.
non-stop?
Yes.
Maybe he'll
Like-
die and then I'll just get to play it forever.
The dream.
I'll become Case Boy.
The casket case, boy. But man, it was that. I remember that. Like, yeah, I feel bad for you, man. But I guess we can't let this go to waste.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
had like hours. So that was the one. That was when I finally got to play Super Mario or Mario on Game Boy without any help. Like I was trying to.
Yeah,
got
you
through
can really
far.
lock in.
Really lock in.
I was
yeah.
really hoping we were going to find out. I don't know if you know this, but like in Brazil, the Sega Master System, which I
yeah.
think kind of in like the rest of the world, they stopped making games for in like, I don't know, 1992. They continued making new games for it over there until like quite recently. Like
What's the Sega Master System?
The very first
Oh,
Sega
the first one,
that
right,
came
right.
out like
Yeah.
mid 80s.
Right.
For whatever reason, it just remained incredibly popular in Brazil.
Okay.
Up until like recent times. So I was hoping we were going to find some like weird tidbit about like gaming in Colombo where it's like, you know, where there's like still something.
well, sorry to
where,
disappoint
where
you.
there's still something that's.
Fucking hell.
I'd love to find out some little fact about like somewhere in the world where there's like, you know, some random console that's just like
Just
popped
still
off, because I think that's
dominating.
like so fascinating about the
It is- I
Brazilian
mean-
Sega Master System culture.
Yeah, the fact that they up until recently they were like, well, there's still a market for it.
Yeah,
That's wild. No, we just then I think we moved on to PC. Actually, before that, the Game Gear came out,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Yes.
that was going to be my gift.
Yep.
And my mom said I was in year 5, so 94. She said if I can get like a 90% average for this that she will buy me the Game Gear.
See, this is smart. See, like
Very
when
smart.
I was growing up, it was like a family, even if they were siblings, you were picking. You know, you were a Nintendo. You were like loyal. You're a Nintendo household, or you're a Sega household.
no.
But truly, the smart thing to do is for the siblings to kind of like split up, and you get
Yes.
one and you get the other.
Yeah.
And then we've got all our bases covered.
Exactly. So, you know, again, it was quite outside my parents' budget, but they were like, you know what, if you can, you know, step it up, we'll go for it. And and even though I was 9 years old, I remember because I grew up in a house with like 14 people, basically. My brother and I were the only non-Muslims in the house.
Right.
And there's all my cousins and stuff were like crazy. So we couldn't study until, hang on, that sentence sounded really wrong.
Yeah.
That I can, like, that I just suddenly caught it and I went, hang on, that's not what I mean. Like,
Huge, fascinating cultural detail that a lot of our listeners
Yeah.
would be like, wait, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
No, let me continue talking about the Sega Game Gear.
and let me write it off as crazy.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that they were crazy has nothing to do with them being Muslim. It's just coincidental.
Crazy,
Okay.
busy, like hectic, like a lot of people.
No,
in the
they just
house.
didn't care about academia.
Okay.
So
Oh,
my
okay.
cousins would like be like playing and loud as ever. So my brother and I could only study either after 10 p.m. or at like before school at like from 5 a.m.
Yeah,
onwards.
right. Fuck.
So I really wanted this Game Gear. So I told mom, and this is what I'm proud of, like 9-year-old Dill for being such a fucking loser. So I told mom to like wake me up at 5 a.m. But because when you wake me up, I'm gonna have no like motivation to like because you forget why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just want to go back to sleep.
I had like
Fucking 5
like a
a.m.
kid's green rattle, like you give it to a baby.
Yeah.
Like a little rattle. I'm like, wake me up with this. Because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That'll remind me, oh, Game Gear, that's right. That's why I'm doing this. So she would literally come and rattle.
Where's the rattle from? Where'd you find the rattle?
I think like one of my like younger cousins or
Right,
whatever
right.
just
Yeah,
had
there's
a
12
like,
other people in the
yeah,
house.
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, just some baby rattle. I was
yeah.
like, wait, but I
Sorry, I forgot you
knew
lived with the Rugrats.
I knew that was going to snap me. Going, why should? Oh, that's right. Like you know,
Yeah.
that was good.
Portable Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, it did like would make me up, and I think I got to like 87% average.
Yeah. No.
And unfortunately, the rules of engagement, mom was like, I'm really proud of you. Unfortunately, it didn't happen
gotta
though.
keep my word.
Got to keep my word.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, one of my dad's colleagues for my birthday a few months later bought me a Game Gear.
Oh.
And up until like,
What?
yeah, up until, wait, Tommy. I genuinely, until about 4 years ago, when I asked my parents about it, I was so sure that they bought it.
Right.
Because why the fuck would this random dude
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I've
yeah.
met once or maybe like a couple of times in my life buy me a Game Gear. They were like, no, he just bought it for you.
Dad's workmate bought me the most top of the line tech at the time.
Absolutely.
That's
and
crazy.
It doesn't make sense.
Did he have kids? Do you know? Because maybe, if you're like a single guy or you're married without kids and you're,
But we weren't that
Flush with
close.
cash.
Well, yeah, that is.
This is
yeah.
the part that's weird. Like, we're not friends with him anymore.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
that you-
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up because with buying the Switch 2 recently, I can't remember if I was telling you this the other day, there was a discussion in our Discord about like, hey, if you're getting the Switch 2, like, what are you planning to do with your Switch 1? Are you going to like sell it or I think you were saying, Ben, you're going to give yours to your sister.
Yeah. Hasn't happened yet.
Okay, well, if she listens, then I've just ruined the surprise. But yeah, like because with the 2 now being out, there's so many secondhand Switch 1s out there that like, will you really get that much for like selling it or trading it in? So it is kind of nice to like gift it to someone in your life that's not had one.
Right.
And Lauren's nephew I think he's in grade 1. He's got like a bit of an interest in games. Like they don't have a console, but he saw the Mario movie and loved it. And he's like takes such an interest in this shit of mine when he's at our house. And I've just been laughing about like what a fucking dickhead move it would be for me to just like gift him the Switch 1. So it's like to the parents that's basically going like, hey, you don't have to cover the cost of the console itself, but now you are on the hook for getting him every fucking game he wants to play. I just love the idea of just dropping it in his lap with like no consultation with them. Like, hey, are you ready for him to have a video game console? Do you think that would be okay? I just give it to him one day without them knowing and just like ruin their lives.
Man, how insane is this? My brother has a 5-year-old and they live in Mumbai and they have the most elaborate kids parties.
Yeah.
To the point where it's weird now, where it's like, it's almost like a version of like flexing to show how great the party was. The parents are flexing by showing how great the party was. Yeah. And one of the ways is the what they call the take home gift, or I forget what loot bag?
Getting a lolly bag
when
you go to a kid's party.
Right.
That was a real like
really indication of what the situation.
The socioeconomic
big time. And you really, if you were a kid that had a shit lolly bag, you really got judged for it.
Mate, and they're raising a nation of like a real legion of arsehole children because my niece, who is so gorgeous, but she's 5, she doesn't know any better, like she's exposed to what she's exposed. She came home once apparently and was like, they didn't even have a piñata in that one. Like she's like so annoyed that the piñata was
loving piñata is pretty
because it's such a staple of her party. And for her birthday she was like knew which DJ to get. Like she's like, I want the DJ shit. From so like it's insane. I cannot like, and don't get me wrong, my brother and his wife are like, this is wild. Like they're on our side. They can see that this is weird, but unfortunately,
that's the way the
culture
environment they're living in that you can't really.
So for her last birthday, last November, the take-home gift, if I'm not mistaken, or the previous year maybe, was for 4-year-olds was a Bluetooth speaker.
Holy shit!
Right.
Holy shit!
While I was over there, Isha, my niece, went for another party, and she came home after the party with a goldfish.
Fucking hell.
So
that's it. I'm moving to Mumbai. I'm lying about my age. I'm 4.
You do have the interest of a 4-year-old, so why not?
I got the hairline of a 4-year-old.
The Benjamin Button 4-year-old. But no, I remembered it because you were saying about the kid's excited, but now the responsibility of keeping the fish alive is not
totally right.
Take a fish home.
Yeah, let's give all the parents that are like that kids are going to the party, give them the heads up.
Right.
Like, hey, we are going to be sending your child home with a creature that will require housing and sustenance.
Yeah, can you chuck in just like a rubber one, just a fake one for my daughter, or just fuck lollies. Yeah,
just do lollies. And here's the one. Now, so this one, my niece wasn't. She wasn't invited for this one. This is like a older sibling. One of her classmates' older sibling went to a party. Mm-hmm. But it's a true story. They came home, every kid at the party, I'm not making this up, they came home with an iPad.
Oh, yes.
Fuck.
Unbelievable.
Fuck.
God.
This is fucking Succession, Logan Roy.
Right.
Bring back Curb, send Larry over to Mumbai and just have him having to navigate all this kind of social dynamic stuff.
Yeah. It is. It's unbelievable.
I love the idea of like, you've met like all of your kids' friends' parents, and you just hate them all. You're like, these parents are all cunts. What can I put in the gift bag to really fuck up the life? Like a dog, like something that is just going to be them on the hook for like looking after something that's going to be like a sinkhole of like more money that they have to spend on.
Well, it's an
upkeep.
escalation, isn't it? Because if you keep playing that game, then it's about how do I top it, the next time. And so I got given that Game Gear, and I
by
basically
a random colleague
of my dad. He was not even in the same company. He was like a supplier for the company who just popped in and gave me. And I swear for 30 years
going on here.
For 30 years, I was like so sure my parents were like kidding, being like, "Oh he gave it." He's like, "No, I'm sure you guys would have." Told him to get it or whatever, because it was not uncommon for dad, because dad worked overseas, and he would buy like maybe like those Game and Watch games, so those or whatever, and send it through someone who was traveling to Sri Lanka, because he would get it from Singapore or whatever that's cheaper or something like that. Either way, so it was not uncommon for dad to send a gift through a colleague. So this one, when it came, I assumed it was again one of dad's kind of things. But only like 30 years ago, I was like, so really, he just bought it. Anyway, so I don't even know how much that was, but it was clearly out of our pricing bracket.
How sexy of a child were you?
I was going to say,
oh my God.
I've been biting my tongue. This does feel like he was sort of grooming you a little bit.
He wasn't like...
Because you barely saw him, right? Like you...
probably saw him maybe 4 more times after that in my entire lifetime.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. Who knows what that was about. But either way, I got a Game Gear, and I remember being so frustrated because you needed 6... AAA batteries or AA batteries, and they would run out within an hour.
Oh yeah.
The Game Gear was one that you had to just be hooked in. Like
people complain about like the battery life on like a Switch or a Steam Deck now or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like sure they're not great, but back in the day it also used to be not great, and you could just plug it into the wall or a power bank. You had to go down to the shop and buy 12 more of those little cunts to get in there.
So with rechargeable batteries with the Lifesaver, you just basically get a bunch of those and just have to do on rotate. But yes, you couldn't take it for like the portability of it was gone because we'd already got used to the Game Boy. Yeah. The Game Boy would last, I can't remember, let's say 5-6 hours or whatever.
Game Boy was doing a lot, in, like the black and white, like it was doing a lot less. Still a lot for the time, but yeah, the color of the Game Gear was the game changer. I was like, wow. You know what I always thought was sick, and I don't think I've ever seen. I never saw a Game Gear in real life here. Yeah, like I didn't know anyone who had one. I never saw one on the shelf at a shop. But I remember reading about how you could get a little adapter for it where you could like watch TV on it. And it had like a little retractable aerial. And I just remember thinking that was so fucking sick. I was like, imagine being on school camp and having your Game Gear with you and being able to fucking watch TV.
I swear to God, because it came with a booklet that showed that. And I remember that would be the dream.
That dream age, and the antenna as well. Like the peak of technology. This is the most we ever need to accomplish.
Here's a memory that you just unlocked because we're talking about this. I realized, so 97, so I was like 12 years old at this point. I had... You were...
I was 11.
Yeah, right. Okay, so...
Sorry, it's going to sound insane to put this into words, but this is a thing we do on the show anytime a year comes up. We have to immediately halt conversation and list what ages we were in that year.
Yeah.
I like it. As a numbers man, I'm like, good, context. I'm like, you need the context.
That's why we started doing it.
So, for example, like my brother getting the Case Boy mistaken. As a 13-year-old, you're right. That's weird to get that wrong as a 13-year-old. Right?
Well, what year did that story happen in?
That was 93.
Oh, so I was 6 years old.
So I was 7.
Yeah.
And Dill was 8.
I was 8. so we're one after the other. That's the easiest way to do it.
Easy. Ben's better at maths than I am, so he'll go first and then I'll just tack one on.
So with that, but my best friend in high school had a Sega Mega Drive, and I would go over to his house. We'd have like marathon games and blah blah blah, and he sometimes would let me borrow the Sega Mega Drive to play at my house, and then I'll play a bit and then give it back and blah, blah, blah. In 97, he moved to America, and he said, his dad over there has got a PlayStation for him. So he gifted me the Sega Mega Drive.
Oh, my God.
I just suddenly had this thing of going, wow, I've just been getting all these dream things from just being a great bloke. That's what I think we really need to remember.
I love this too. The dad, were the parents separated?
No, they were just moving, migrating.
You made it sound like Dad's moved to America and he's lured me over there with a PlayStation. Hey, son, there's a PlayStation. You don't have to... Look, you can stay over there with your mother if you want.
Yeah.
If you come over here, there's a PlayStation with your name on it.
Right.
It's just sitting here going unplayed. That's a sick move.
and my friend, he played a. I mean, it's just weird. He just lied to me. But basically, his dad had a book that was released with all the cheat codes and maybe the fatalities of Mortal Kombat and blah blah blah. Right. And would either on the phone or whatever before actually sending the book would just tell him, write this down, up, left, whatever, forward, kick for whatever for Liu Kang or something.
We need that to come back, honestly. Right. Yeah. That disappeared at a certain point.
Because you got Reddit, right?
Just put no, but I mean, just like even just the codes being in the game, there'll be like stuff that you can unlock and secret stuff you can find if you do whatever. It just became Easter eggs, and every now and then there's like a glitch where you can do something, but literally the thing of like. Stay on the home screen and put in
IDDQD,
eight budget,
IDKFA,
and get a new thing or whatever.
It's weird that I still remember those codes. IDDQD and Doom, and IDK. And ID clip was the one you walk through walls.
Yes.
Fuck is wrong with me?
Maybe anyway, get told that.
I was like, what the hell?
I'd get told you'd read about this and you'd be like, surely not. That sounds too good to be true. And then you'd like put it in and the screen would flash or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, it worked.
The one that I still like. I'm sad I never discovered it. Is that when I was 13, you were 12, and he was 11. I heard about.
We have to do them ourselves. How dare you?
The accountant's taken over.
Why don't you fuck my wife while you're at it?
I heard that there was a skin for Tomb Raider.
Yeah. We all heard.
Yeah, we all heard. I was like, then there was another one that there's a code to remove the censoring on Sims.
Okay.
I mean, I think I looked into that because I did have The Sims, and I think it was quite disappointing.
It was the opposite of stick cricket. It made me.
But there's no nipples.
So with the codes and stuff like that, my friend told me that basically, so he would come to me and say, "Oh, try this and stuff," and I'm like, "Oh my god, it worked." I was like, "How does your dad know that?" He told me his dad works for Sega.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. That's a classic.
Insider knowledge on how. Yeah. So it was.
You know what I was thinking about this the other day, because friend of the show Andrew Levins gets sent a lot of stuff like through Nintendo because of doing stuff on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and so he'll get like a big care package with like the new game or whatever, and his son is really into all that stuff as well. And I was just thinking about like his son being at school and being like, my dad gets sent this stuff from Nintendo. I was like, oh, he's created like the new generation of the like, my uncle works for Nintendo.
Right.
And he's like tapped in and I was like, he's literally like, not to the exact same, but like, he basically is that version of
my
that
dad
kid.
knows Nintendo.
Yeah. They post him stuff.
Yeah. Fuck. Well, there's got to be a real one every now and then to keep the myth going that this fucking guy can lie about and get away with.
100%. Yeah.
But it's also funny when you started talking about kids. It just reminded me of like how crazy simple your tastes were back then. Like the one that popped to mind is with my cousins. They got this game called Shaq Fu.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's a classic.
And they told us about it on the phone or whatever, and we're like, oh, can't wait for the next, school holiday or whatever to go over to their house and play Shaq Fu. Like the excitement was so high, that I remember like my mom or dad, like dad, I think was in town because of school holidays. He had to like turn back and say, all right, you need to stop talking because I just kept in the back of the car going Shaq Fu, Shaq Fu, Shaq Fu, Shaq. And now when you look at it, it's like one of the worst games, worst. But that like. It was so exciting that Shaquille O'Neal is in a karate, kung fu scenario.
I love at the start of this, you're like, I feel like a bit of an imposter thing. I don't really know anything about video games. But it's like over the course of what we've unlocked about like
my entire childhood memories centered around video games.
But I think it tracks, right? My point being that like I had to pull the pin because it becomes it's so over consuming of my life that I knew that in order to be a functioning adult, I cannot. These things can't coexist. I guess then it's a good point to then fast forward to where we are now, which is eventually.
You are back in a little bit. We painted the picture at the beginning when I first met you. You were like heavily out, and then you've you've gone back in on split fiction and stuff. I was texting you the day that Mario. We talked about this on the show at the time, but I texted you the day Mario Kart World and the Switch 2 came out, and I was like, brother, it's fucking sick.
Yes.
And then like an hour later, you sent me a photo of yourself in JB Hi-Fi, holding the box, going like, all right, you've convinced me.
Yeah, and here's why it's frustrating. I think I played it for like a week before realizing I have a problem again, and I'm scared to go into DK because I saw something literally just before coming here on my algorithms like sorry, I'll be jumping a bit ahead, but basically I guess because of Mario Kart World and then trying to find what the fuck does a feather do and things like that, it's the algorithm is now still catered towards that, and everyone's talking about how if it's like Odyssey, Galaxy, and Donkey Kong is like the next 10 out of 10 game and things like that. And apparently it's awesome. And I'm like, I've got to write a new show for next year. and I need to go to the gym. Because what happened is, I think this ties in back to that 2021 year when my back fucked up. And I was staying at my ex's house, whose housemate had a Switch. Right. And I was like, well, we might as well play some games because I can't do anything else.
A finished Drive to Survive.
I finished Drive to Survive, and now I'm like really want to keep racing. And so we've started playing Mario Kart, and it became.
You get into Mario Kart. I watched Drive to Survive and really liked it.
Drive to Survive is just the gateway to everything. It's Formula One. It's Mario Kart. It's weed. It's weed.
Yeah, I've never had a Coca-Cola before, but you see someone in the background sipping a Coke, and I thought that looks good.
I might go to Italy.
This is why I'm scared to. I keep my YouTube fascist free because I'm like, oh, these guys have some good points. I'm so easily impressionable.
If the video's edited well, I'm fucking in. It doesn't matter what the content is.
I just love the drama.
I'm here for the articles.
I love the artistry.
No, but so I got into that, and then I realized that became such a big bonding thing for me and my partner at the time, so that I then bought one for Melbourne and told myself I'll only play when she's in town because we're doing long distance. So it was really cute. It kind of worked that way. We didn't think we bought that. Was it cooking one? Overcooked. Overcooked. And we played that, and that was like we had rules where we're like, no matter whatever we say to each other during this game cannot be held accountable for our real life because it's like the tension.
Your sister. Hey, remember the rule. Remember the rule. The rule was your idea. Your mum's really hot. And then now, hey,
cannot be held accountable.
Without these rules, we're just animals.
That is perfect. But because it got tense and stuff, and we're like, okay, I'm not yelling at you, but I do need the tomatoes to be chopped, and so then we did split not long after that, I think, and so then it was just too heartbreaking to go back into it, right? And then I had like about a year of no video games or so, and then I decided to treat myself to a PlayStation because, and again, this I've spoken about on your previous podcast, because I heard that Spider-Man 2 had come out and was good, and I wanted to go to New York that year, and I thought, what better way to learn about New York than to get the Spider-Man game to get the lay of the land.
It's really easy to get around, apparently. You can get from one end of the city to the next in like a minute and a half.
But I thought that would be because when I go into a game, I do explore the shit out of the area. So I thought, okay, well, it'll be really fun to really get into Spider-Man 2 and then go to New York and be like, get pumped for the trip and stuff like that. Sad point is that I bought that and Call of Duty, installed both. It's been a year and a half and I still haven't played Spider-Man. I've just played Call of Duty exclusively.
Fuck.
And then my ex, who then is now my best friend, she would come over and we'd play Call of Duty, which is almost therapeutic in its own way because we get to kill each other.
Yes.
Without it being problematic.
Yeah.
It's like doing a role play in therapy. It's like, hey, there's no consequences here.
And killing each other would be problematic. You're right.
The woke mom would be really up in arms about that.
A new witch of the week.
Exactly. It's a bit of a nanny state situation. But it was quite helpful. And then we created our own stupid game. Like, I know how Call of Duty is so vast, right? There's so many amazing things in it. It's too much for me. I cannot. I tried to do online, just get killed straight away. I've had friends come over to try and coach me. I'm like, nah, it's not worth it. It's too hard. So then we just kind of almost limited to a couple of maps on offline mode. mode.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And like things
Playing
like
against bots.
sometimes we're on the same team against bots or whatever. But one of the things we love is like there's a level called Stash House, which is quite a small map, and it's where one person has 5 minutes to try and kill the other person as many times. So there's one person, basically you're just running, dodging, and it is the most like heart racing situation when you're being chased and you can feel bullets flying over your head and you're dodging. Like my ex has, she won't mind me saying this, some anxiety issues, and there has been games where after the game she has had to stop because she was having an anxiety attack.
Fuck.
Because of how intense it is getting chased by someone.
Oh,
yeah, I know what'll be good for my anxiety. Pretending that I'm in the Iraq War. That'll really calm me down. No Animal Crossing.
No
Mario Kart.
But in that, so that unlocked it again, and then I got. I think I was talking to Lauren, or you were telling me about Lauren and the Hogwarts game.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, I'll get into that. And then, man, that fucking bastards, like, because you finish one, say, quest or thing, and then it shows you what else is on the list to continue, and if you do it, what spell you unlock.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, well, fuck, I do want Alohomora. Let's do that and this and that. But the only difference between me now and my addiction back then is back then I was so hardcore that I would not use game like guides or cheat codes or anything. Now I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll go on easy walk through. Just go, fuck it. How do I unlock these things? Because I just don't have the patience for it anymore.
Did you say you started a? Because you texted, because Lauren's now on a 4th or 5th playthrough. You started a 2nd playthrough after finishing it?
I did start a 2nd playthrough because each house has a different base for one thing, like the common room, and then but also there's a particular storyline that has deviates for each house. I forget what the person's name is,
but
like a ghost.
I think that might be the only thing that is the same between you and Lauren, and thank God, may I just
we
say.
both want to suck your dick, though.
Yes.
There is that. Sorry, I should say one of us wants to, the other one has to.
Yeah, the other is obligated by law.
but that Hogwarts thing is where I realized it is still a problem, no matter how much because there is a particular thing called room of requirement, which is
yes
if you play the game right. I legitimately spent 3 hours decorating that room. And not like, oh, this will help me progress. No, I've pretty much clocked the game, and now I just want some aesthetics, and I'm like, oh, where should I put this knight? And then just creating, like, the obsession that I went into going, okay, I'll have my potions here, I'll have my plants here, and then if I was in a hurry, I'll be able to collect these things, and I have my fertilizer. Like, obsessing over, and I felt so accomplished when I did it, and I looked at it so proudly going, wow, look at my common room of requirement. And then I went, you've done nothing with your life. This there's nothing to it just killed like a whole 2 weeks or so. This was in December,
good thing
right?
With Donkey Kong is that there's a lot to find and explore, but in terms of like the progression of the game, it is just like it's very linear. You know what I mean? If you just want to like go through and finish the game, it's not like a sprawling. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not like there's no trappings in there like a furnishing a house in like Animal Crossing.
Right, okay.
However, and I have a lot of those same impulses of like, because I love like city building games and sort of like resource management games, a lot of that stuff where you can optimize them, but if there's also like customization, I'm all about it. Ghost of Yote we talked about, which is this upcoming game where you're a samurai, but you can I assume it's like you unlock different dyes and different outfits and different combinations, and it's like I want to look as cool as possible.
Yeah.
And it's not going to benefit the gameplay, or like if it is, that's incidental.
Yeah.
I just want to collect every possible thing so I can look as cool as possible.
You want all the options for whatever you're feeling on a certain day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Need for Speed had the underground or whatever it was. Like you could do all the customization and like, oh, you can have lights on the tires and the spinning rims and all that. I just got so obsessed. Even with the Porsche Unleashed, which is considered one of their weaker things, I got obsessed obsessed with having a garage full of like different. I'll get one Boxster for me. That's my driving to work car. And then I have one for the weekend. Like I just created these narratives, and it's like. Nothing happened in my life. Like it just that's the thing that I forget.
I have been thinking lately. Like I've been doing a lot of like late night sessions because we've had like there's been the last like 4 months has been just an all time run of just like incredible games coming out. Like 4 Game of the Year contenders in a very short space of time, which is like pretty rare.
I'm scared to even ask. What are they?
Pretty crazy. Like so that Blueprints game I was talking about earlier. This game Clair Obscur, which is like this French RPG game that kind of came out of nowhere. First time developer. People are loving it. Great story, great combat, all that. Death Stranding 2, which is this like...
Is that the one where you deliver shit?
Yeah.
Mate, I saw Honest Trailers or Honest Game Trailers, the YouTube channel on it, and I'm like, this looks so stupid. Like, it's like you're like balancing and running, you're like, Mads Mikkelsen is showing up with his like shit like melting. I'm like, it looks, I think Conan O'Brien pops in.
Conan's in it, the first one.
But like, is the whole gameplay you just running around trying to balance shit on your back?
It's pretty much,
Because, and this is what the Honest Trailer was saying, is like, where it's something along the lines of, not sure if this is the stupidest game or one of the coolest games. It's somewhere.
The common thing with the first one is that nearly everyone who played it and ended up loving it bounced off it initially, was like, this is fucking stupid, this is wasting my time.
It's tedious.
It
looks
and then
tedious.
you come back to it and you kind of get hooked in, and then by the end you're like, this is incredible. And then the second one that's just come out is like,
scared.
it just streamlines, it assumes that you had that relationship with the first one, and it just kind of streamlines everything out of the gate. And it's almost like a reward for coming to grips with the first one, where it's like, gives you a car like way earlier and all this kind of stuff. So there was that, and then Donkey Kong and Mario Kart World in there as well.
Yeah.
And like just really recently putting in some bullshit hours into these games and and just like in the back of my head going like, thank God this is my job.
Well, I was going to say,
if I was just doing this recreationally, I don't think I would have been playing all of them day of release.
You guys, won. You hacked the system, which is that you're able to take what was something that could be perceived as a waste of time, quite justifiably, and made it very much so the opposite. You need to be on top of it, and you want to. And I'm sure there might be times where it does feel like a job, and then you're like a bit like annoyed that you have to kind of do this. But really, that's going to be dime a dozen compared to the fact that playing Mario Kart like endlessly is going to benefit the ability to pay rent and mortgage. The direct link. But also then opened up things to like early releases, getting invited to events. Like it's literally the dream. That's why I love that you guys have this podcast. Genuinely, I think you've won. And then I sort of counter that with, for me, in that going, all right, there are things that I still think are worth for doing it. So for example, Last of Us, to me, playing that was like life-changing because it is one of the greatest pieces of art, and being able to like, I've never experienced something like that where you're so and this was literally like I think March this year, all right. And so because I was telling a booker who runs these gigs in Central New South Wales, he found out I started gaming and he loves it. So that's his favorite game. So he bought me Last of Us 1 for PlayStation 5. And then I was like, fuck, after I finished it, I was like, I need to go in to 2 straight away. Because what I did is I'd play the first one, watch the Pedro one, and then played 2 and then went to the series again. And I was saying to Tommy, like, I'm coming out of it. We're literally like 3 weeks since I've pumped the brakes again.
Right.
So I'm still fragile, and talking about this has really activated a lot of that. Like, it's like I'm like trying to quit heroin, and I've just gone into a crack den and hanging out with 2 dudes who get money from smoking crack.
It did take you a little while to reply to my message asking if you wanted to do this, and I imagine you just having this moral quandary of like, can I go back in?
No.
Is this going to be bad for my recovery?
No, I was on a mushroom trip and I went to the Lightscape. thing at Botanical Gardens, and I was on a different fucking plane. And then the morning I woke up and I think Tommy messaged. I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, he did.
Well, I was blind drunk at Mel Bracewell's 30th when I sent that text. So in a weird way, we were really kind of like linked up.
I was at home with my girlfriend.
Wait, rub it in as I'm walking alone in this thing, having a trip while all these families and couples are like hugging each other. And
I'm talking to Ben Lomas. Sounds awful.
After 249 episodes of a podcast that I did with him, I get you, brother.
Yes.
I get you. But yeah, so something like that, Last of Us, I was like, no, that who cares about how much time I spend on it or whatever.
Yes.
That was fulfilling. I think I'm trying to find a balance where I can enjoy something like Hogwarts Legacy and not get to that obsessive part where I'm just doing. So someone said, if that's how you feel, stay away from Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Part 2, because they said it's incredible the amount of what was it, customization or storyline or whatever. I can't remember. But
then everything about it, honestly, and the scope of it is so massive as well.
Right.
So it's
But then when they say that, the opposite effect happens, which is I'm like, well, then I have to see what this is all about. Like,
it's annoying, because games, like, especially when they're like really big and immersive and like long and everything, it's kind of, you have other stuff in your life to be doing. You're doing this as a recreational thing, but it's not like putting on a movie where it's like, I sit down for 2 hours, movie finished, go to bed.
Or series even. Like, say,
it really easily can, like, seep into, like, your life in this obsessive way. But that's only because it's like, it's just such high quality, beautiful artistry. You know what I mean? It's like, you kind of punish yourself for, like, being too sucked in, but you're like, I'm engaging with some of like the most creative, interesting, like in terms of storyline, in terms of like technical artistry, art design. Like that's what I love about them is like all of these different things combined.
Yeah.
Probably like maybe more than like any other form of entertainment. The number of different things that are having to be done well.
So Last of Us is a good example about that, where it's like the narrative is so good in itself. Then you have the graphics, especially the PlayStation 5 that I played. Then the fucking gameplay. Then like it's just one after the other. The sound design, the fact that with the surround speakers, when a fucking infected starts coming up from behind, like it's terrifying at times as well.
The acting, the facial animation stuff,
the environmental design.
Why am I crying? Why am I crying at a fucking video game?
Yeah,
like
the pacing.
Yeah. So. I think for me then it has to be something where I think they said this to Tommy, is like I feel a little bit more confident about going in because since my childhood or whatever, having found comedy, which is for the first time something I care more about than video games, that there is more likelihood that I'm able to put those controls in more like willingly rather than like forcing myself. Because mom said, if I don't, then I can't watch TV or whatever. Like, going, okay, no, like, if I don't do this, then I'm going to bomb tomorrow or whatever. That is more for pain. So I'm like, okay, no, I'll pull the pin now. But it feels like such a slippery slope. Like, it feels like I'm on a tightrope to fall in back into that. Because even with Last of Us 2, I finished it like months ago, but I keep playing so many different levels over and over again because I'll be on YouTube and see someone else playing and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you can climb the roof and like use the bow and arrow from there, like or whatever, or the crossbow, or whatever it is. I'm like, oh, sick. And so I would want to like do what they did and just sometimes it's the same thing. Like everyone's played Last of Us 2, I'm assuming. So like the Rat King.
Yes.
I can't get enough of playing that level.
Oh God.
Like, you know what I mean? Just because when I first played it, I was trying to like conserve bullets and this and that and stuff. But this time I'm like, nah, fuck you, take this pipe bomb one after the other and like those types of things. I just love mucking around with it or playing it at the hard level or whatever. Like, so I think something like DK, I almost want to play just because it'll justify me buying the whole Switch too.
Well, that's also fair.
Because otherwise I'm like, what did I do with that? And also the thing with the Switch 1, you're right. I don't know what I should do with that. But also, you know how they had the option of like, hey, do you want to transfer your Switch 1 to 2? I was like, no, I just want to play. So I skipped it. And apparently you can't do it now after the...
Oh, what?
Yeah.
After you've set it up.
After you set it up, you
have
can't...
to go fresh.
So, but I'm like, I didn't think there was anything on that I really wanted on there. Because all I had was Mario Kart 8 and probably Overcooked and Hogwarts, I think.
Right.
I think. Hogwarts is PlayStation 5 as well.
Right.
Oh,
So
that makes
I don't
sense.
know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
fun to start.
Because I had like 40 games on
Right,
so it's
right.
like, well, absolutely. Continuity there. Keep it all,
in the one place, so then you can access them.
So then everything's just moved over.
Oh, okay, right. So then I didn't miss out on much, but But I did like, and then you came over the other day.
Yeah, we played a bit of Mario Kart.
And I was quite proud to say I beat you.
Yeah, you did.
Which I was like, because I always consider myself shit at video games,
right?
Because like,
despite the obsessive,
it was not like maybe that's why I love it, because I'm not naturally good at them.
Right.
So it takes me a lot of effort to become good at something. Like, it just doesn't come naturally, and it's probably why my ex and I aren't together, because she'd always win, and I really hate it.
Yeah.
I'm getting no satisfaction from this at all.
Yeah.
No, but actually quite the opposite, because it made when I did win like so much more fulfilling.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
if say Mario Kart, like 4 out of 5 times she would win. If we did like a four what do you call it?
Grand Prix?
Yeah, Grand Prix. If you do a Grand Prix, 4 out of 5 should win. But the one Grand Prix I'd win, and it feels so rewarding. So I think for me, then just having something like, if I set a timer, all right, 1.5 hours I get to play Donkey Kong today. But whether I stick to it, that's the worrying part.
Right.
But that's all of life. You know what I mean? You got to have your limits for kind of everything.
Yes, sure.
Like you have the potential to just sit on the couch all day and just watch TV.
Yeah, but it has a built-in endpoint.
True.
This is going back to what you were saying, which is that unlike that with video games, it doesn't have a straightforward endpoint. Even with something like Last of Us, once it finished, it still hooks me back in to go back.
But I feel like if you know, if you set like what I do with myself is I kind of go like, all right, I got to get this done, I got to get this done, or I'll just play this game now, like when I'm home from a gig or like whatever it is. And obviously, you know, when you work for yourself and you work at home, it's completely within your ability to just go like, well, I just simply won't follow that. But you know what I mean? Like giving yourself that like
a bit of discipline.
Yeah, the little because it is easy in our lifestyle to slip into just like, just do what I want when I want.
You are talking to someone who was an alcoholic and has, binge eating issues and has a heart attack. There's a reason why there's a lot of things in my life that don't get fixed until they become a problem.
But this won't kill you. It'll just make you really happy.
Well, this is quite the opposite, actually. I think what happened to me 3 weeks ago when I finally pulled the pin on it was in realizing just how depressed I was because the dopamine hit that I was getting from the video game. So this is just before pulling the pin. This is what my life looked like. In my defense, I just had surgery and couldn't move around much. So that's part of how I got hooked in, right? So I would take some weed gummies. I'd be playing Mario Kart, but simultaneously listening to the Seth Meyers Lonely Island podcast about dissecting, all their SNL, what are they called? Digital lives or digital shorts. And I realized that I'm like so removed from actually being present with any of it. So Mario Kart's on mute. The thing audio is playing and I'm kind of giggling. I'm stoned, so I'm not really remembering what they talked about. And instead I'm just driving
over half of the TV and you're kind of reading that as you're playing Mario Kart.
Is this a bad way to live? Because I do that not, and I don't get depressed, which is good. And I do still I find myself being productive. And I think I have that obsessive gene, but I also have this real, I have a lot of self-discipline, which I'm very lucky to just naturally have that. But I'm a multitasker because I want to be efficient. Well, I've got all my podcasts I need to listen to. I want to have the footy scores over there on the iPhone. I want to be playing the game for work.
Right. I should have added one more thing.
Well, this is where ADD is good because it's impossible to do one thing for too long.
Right. That's true. I forgot to add that the iPad was playing the Formula One qualifying on the right-hand side.
Thank you.
I forgot. And sometimes the Hawthorne game or whatever.
Every screen in the apartment must be doing something.
So
TV
phone's got podcast.
iPad, and then laptop, and then phone screen.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
exactly.
4 different sources of information that can be blasting me at one point.
And I think maybe where the sense of depression kicked in was not only were those all spiking the dopamine or whatever, but also because of the weed, it meant that none of it was actually fulfilling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought you meant the depression was like, it's never going to get any better than this. What is the point of going on when you've clocked life?
Well, it was a little bit of, it was when I realized that the only time I'd spoken to anyone there was a particular Sunday, and I woke up Monday morning and realized the only time I spoke to a human being was when I said, thank you, 5 stars for you, and took my Uber delivery. That was the sole sentence that I'd communicated with another human being.
Your voice comes out, it's all cracked because your voice hasn't been
used. So I hadn't been doing comedy, I hadn't been doing running or exercising, so it was also all the combination of that, right? But it was that kind of alarm bell of going, oh man, you gotta sort your shit out. It was actually it was genuinely a fart. I farted, and the way the Woody was, it kind of like cupcake, like funneled into my face, and it was so heinous.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's fair.
My God, I need to sort my life out.
Yeah.
Like it was like whatever came out of there is like fucking unethical. Like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
there is some like
Yeah.
a humanitarian crisis happening in there. That I was like, this is a wake up. It felt like I was in Severance, and like the innie comes into the outie world, and I was like, far out. I need to fix my life. This outie is better innie than outie.
Oh yeah. Well, welcome back to the real world.
Yes.
And, I'm glad you could share all of that with us. We
Yeah.
better wrap this episode up.
Yeah,
absolutely,
We didn't even
yeah.
get to talk about how the time you played E Honda in a comedy sketch. That was top of my list.
Oh,
Maybe we'll have to have you back to do a deep dive on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's not forget that there was a comment underneath that said it was for a picture that I posted of it saying it's a culture, not a costume.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
there is a lot of issues with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think I'd beat Dalsim.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, it was right there.
Yeah.
They had Waka playing Dalsim. They did a little kind of switcheroo kind of thing there. Well, thank you, Dill.
Yes, we'll break that all down next time. And look,
Okay.
if you want a justification for buying Donkey Kong Bonanza, you can come back another time and talk about
Oh my
You
God.
can live our life.
Yeah, okay.
Anything to plug coming up?
Just at Dilruk J on Instagram.
Great.
And, my Amazon special is still there. If you've got Prime, check it out. It's called Bundle of Joy.
You'll have some dates coming up. in
Yeah.
the future.
DilrukJ.com, I think, for all the
Great.
tour. Bendigo. I'm in Bendigo, October 2nd.
Great.
There we
Oh,
go.
okay.
Check that out.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals, see you later, Case Boy.